This is the Book of Concord. This is the name of the volume that is the compilation of a series of documents that were adopted by the Lutheran Church. And this Book of Concord was first published in 1580. The documents in here are older than 1580, but that is the first publication of a complete edition of what we know today as the Book of Concord. And we'll talk about a little bit of this, how there are some differences in terms of subscription to the confessions. So, first published in 1580, this is a summary of what the Lutheran churches believe, teach, and confess. Lutherans, at least in a church body like mine, when you become a member of the clergy, when you are ordained into the pastoral office, you have to take a vow that says that you're going to be teaching in accord with these Lutheran confessions, so with these confessions of faith. And so you are binding yourself to teach in accord with the doctrine of your church. This is not just one document, and it's not a document that was just systematically put together. If you look at some later confessions of faith, like the Westminster Confession, which is the primary confession of faith for Presbyterians, the Westminster Confession of Faith is very systematically laid out. It has a series of doctrines. It lays it out very, very clearly and carefully. The Westminster Assembly met over a number of years and debated little points of how things are going to be worded back and forth. The Book of Concord is not like that. The Book of Concord is a series of documents written for specific purposes, addressing specific issues, that then got compiled into a single book. So it contains the following documents. The first is the ecumenical creeds. Ecumenical meaning universal creeds. These are the creeds that Christians all confess, at least Christians in the Western Church. And those are the Apostles' Creed, the Nicene Creed, and then the Athanasian Creed. Then we have the Augsburg Confession and the Apology, or the defense of the Augsburg Confession. We have the small and large catechisms of Martin Luther, the power and primacy of the Pope, the Smalcald Articles, and then we have the Formula of Concord, which is really two separate documents, or two kind of versions, a little shortened version and a longer exposition. Okay, so those are the documents that we're going to be talking about, what all of those are here. It's important to mention that there are some differences in confessional adherence, as I mentioned earlier. And that is to say that in those countries that adopted the Lutheran Reformation, not all of those countries immediately adopted the entirety of the Book of Concord. So when we're talking about the Lutheran Confessions, or the primary Lutheran Confessions, we really are identifying two things as most essential. And that is the Small Catechism of Martin Luther and the Augsburg Confession. So if you want the briefest summary of what does it mean to be a Lutheran, those two documents are going to be your core documents. Everything else within the Book of Concord is really a further explanation of the things that are taught in those two documents. And then some parsing out of various other theological points from those two documents. But those are a really good and helpful summary. And so there are Lutheran churches today that only officially hold to those two documents rather than the entirety of the Book of Concord. And the reason for this really is just that a lot of the later documents in the Book of Concord were written in the midst of particular theological controversies that were happening in Germany. So there are parts of Scandinavia that adopt the other two documents that simply did not have those debates, and they didn't want to introduce those doctrinal debates into their countries. And so for that reason, those documents were not accepted right away. Some countries actually eventually ended up adopting those other documents as well. And the Book of Concord, the rest of those documents, still play a significant role in shaping a lot of the doctrinal conversations in those Lutheran churches, even if they are not the official standard of the church, other than those two documents. There's also a distinction between two forms of confessional subscription, meaning how much of the confessions that one holds to. There is a quia subscription, and then there is a quatenus subscription. So quia is the Latin term here. What it means is that those who hold to a quia subscription believe that, or they subscribe to the Book of Concord because, quia, that the documents in the Book of Concord are a right exposition of Scripture. Quatenus is insofar as. This is to say that one who holds to a quatenus subscription says they hold to those confessions of faith insofar as they align with Scripture. And the church body that I'm a part of, the AALC, we hold to a quia subscription to the Book of Concord.